Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Leadership Void Podcast. I'm Enrique, and my co-host Vince here with a special guest from the Northeast. We took a pause to share a little bit of our history and origin last week, but today we're on the road again. And Vince, let's hear about it.
All right. Yes, indeed. We are on the road, and we are headed, and we are at Pennsylvania, the city brotherly love in Philly. We have Hank Gillen, the Director of Office of Veterans Services at the prestigious St. Joseph University. So, Frank, hello. Tell us about you.
Hey, gentlemen, thank you very much for having me on your podcast. Congratulations. It's a great program you put together. I've been watching some of your recordings so far, and it's a niche that needs to be filled. So thanks for inviting me to participate. As Vince said, I'm here at St. Joseph's University. I'm an Army veteran myself. I was commissioned into the field artillery right after the Vietnam years, and served in artillery battalions, and then as a Soviet Union area specialist. So I'm a true Cold War era veteran. Served on active duty through Desert Storm, and then transitioned into the reserves. And after I left active duty, some fellow veterans and I set up a small business where we did international business development, primarily in the former Soviet Union states, Central Asia and Europe. And we did that for 10 or 12 years. I'm also, in addition to being a veteran, retired from the reserves, I am a military spouse. My wife served 27 years in the Army. So while we were continuing the Magical Mystery Tour around from installation to installation on her career, I participated in various veteran serving organizations, community organizations. I served on a school board out at Fort Knox, so I'm particularly sympathetic right now to those who are trying to get schools opened up back again and get that whole mission done safely and effectively. Since 2017, I've been here at St. Joe's as the Director of Veteran Services.
Outstanding. Thank you for that background. I love the picture of the landing craft behind you. It reminds me of my days with the Army. The Army has landing equipment, so a lot of people don't know that the Army has boats.
Yes, indeed. More boats than the Navy, but ours are a little smaller.
Right. But yeah, so your work up there in St. Joseph is very vital, and I'm so happy that you are specifically with the veterans. Tell us a little bit about that program.
Sure. So we've been here, the Office of Veteran Services at St. Joseph's. Our mission is to empower veterans and military-affiliated students to achieve their educational and professional goals. So the office itself is relatively new, even though the university's connection to veterans goes all the way back to, we were founded in 1851, so we had alumni in the Civil War. But here in the office, I work with the enriching the campus experience for student veterans. And also we train veterans interested in starting or growing a small business in entrepreneurship. That's how I got to know Vince. We were pleased to welcome him on campus to participate in our entrepreneurship boot camp for veterans. As a Jesuit university, St. Joseph stresses preparation of the whole person, the cura personalis. And we in the Veteran Services Office feel that ties in very well with the experience that all of us as veterans have had, where we're focused on mission first, but people always. So that personal aspect of leadership and of mission accomplishment always shines through.
Oh, yes, indeed. It was such a pleasure to meet you, Hank, and the team. You know, I felt like I was I was back at home, in St. Joe's with you and the leadership at St. Joseph's University. It's such a pleasure to be there, to learn, to grow, and hopefully to continue to excel and thrive. So thank you for that opportunity. I'm so glad we reconnected. And now going on in our current pandemic, how is the Office of Veteran Services holding up? And what are you all currently doing to deal with this situation, the pandemic and the situation?
Well, sure. It's like everybody else. We've had to change. The word of the hour seems to be pivot, right? Everybody's done that. We actually, as the pandemic related shutdowns and travel restrictions set in, we were in the process of bringing the next cohort of entrepreneurs onto campus. So that didn't, we got them halfway through the distance learning that we do first, but we got them all the way through the distance learning, but haven't had them here on campus yet. So that's something that we're endeavoring to manage this fall. In the meantime, we're trying to keep engaged with not only that the ongoing cohort, but the alumni, such as yourself and others, and reaching out and being a resource to them as they're trying to find answers and how to deal with this. Part of the way we did that is we'd initiated a podcast series. Our assistant director, Kevin Gelsheiser, had been doing podcasts with particularly women entrepreneurs and military spouse entrepreneurs. And as the pandemic lockdown ensued, we transitioned that to Zoom sessions, Zoom interviews like what we're doing here. And so we've reached out to veterans and seeing how they have dealt with things. We've had a veteran farmer from up here in Pennsylvania, a brewer, who a Navy veteran, Enrique, who had the poor timing to open his brewery on the 23rd of February this year. So they really had to scramble to figure out how to, and he went into the delivery business, which he didn't think he was going to be in. But trying to capture those little experiences that people are having and sharing them as a way to say, yeah, you too can do this. But also sharing, we've had Major General Gronsky, the Deputy Commanding General of U.S. Forces in Europe, and the Commanding General of the 28th ID, who is now a leader consultant. And we've said, okay, so how have you tailored your message to this? So we've been reaching out and trying to stay engaged, as everybody has, not only because everybody's scrambling and we're trying to make sure that we're keeping our head above water, but also moving forward. I think we all kind of recognize that that this isn't we're not going back to the way it was before. It's going to be some sort of a hybrid environment that we operate in now. I was harkening back to my, what kind of mission-oriented protective posture are we actually going to be in? Because we're not going to get the all clear. It's going to be a modified, where are you? Where is the society? We're here on campus. We're preparing to welcome the students back next week because we're one of the universities who's doing an in-person fall semester. That's obviously got its set of very specific rules and challenges. We're going to see how that works, and no different for the student veterans we have who will be participating that way, or the entrepreneurs in our network who have come through here. They're operating in a different environment, so we're trying to tailor our message and learn together. We're not sitting here saying, let's huddle around for the weekend and then come out with the answer and give it to everybody. Everybody's learning, and the situation in Florida there is different from here in Pennsylvania, which is different from California. And so everybody has to just take what they learn and apply as it is valuable to their situation.
Yeah, thank you for that, Hank. It sounds like you guys are doing so much already, and I'm interested in what you guys have going on for the future.
Right. Well, as I said, I think that you know, we're trying to adapt our training. We're right here with the cohort that we're trying to get through, finish the training that they've started. Also, we really think that this environment in which we find ourselves, and the fact that everybody has one of the things is, you know, everybody has had to get smart on technology. People who weren't embracing that, or they felt like they were in a different area. My veteran farmer we were talking to, she was saying, you know, I wasn't quite sure where this was going to dovetail with us, but it is, you know, because she's having, you know, obviously there's the marketing aspect, but just the remaining connected and finding your audience. So I actually, Vince, in this next group, I have a veteran farmer who's coming to the cohort. So we've adapted our message a little bit there. Agriculture was not something we were stressing a lot in previous cohorts, but trying to tie all the resources together. Here at the university, St. Joe's has, particularly here in the House School of Business, we have the Initiative for Family Business and Entrepreneurship. We have an innovation lab, and trying to tie in with these other resources, and as I said, mutually go forward with presenting a package of learning and shared development with the community here, the veterans and the general small business community in Philadelphia is really what's taking up our time. That and making sure everybody wears their masks.
Yes, you know, I love that phrase, you know, mission first, people always, and hearing you speak about how to adapt and pivot with technology. Talks on our next topic, which is all about leadership, right? Professional development. Here we go. So you itself, Hank, what areas do you work on to improve your capabilities as a leader?
Well, I think there's never an area where lifelong learning really applies. It's leadership. So reading is one of those things. Comparing notes, what's out there. There's no shortage of people who comment on leadership and share it. Not, you know, and with any other, as with any other topic, some are more qualified in the field than others. One of the books that I'm reading right now is that just came out this spring is No Time for Spectators by General Martin Dempsey, the previous chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and I think he's got a very relatable style to the way he puts things through. So certainly reading, knowing the state of the art here at the university, I have the opportunity to tap into the outstanding folks we have who teach leadership and ethics and sustainability for corporate organizations and for business majors. It's not lost on any of us that leadership and ethical leadership is very top of mind here in the business community, because there have been plenty of examples of how not to do it in fairly recent history. So people want to know, how do you develop that culture of leadership, and which kind of brings you to the servant leadership concept, which I think that's really the buzzword. Back from our military days, the commander and by extrapolation out to the civilian world, the leader is responsible for everything his organization does or fails to do. But as I remind my scouts when they're trying to do their Eagle project and they have to show leadership, that doesn't mean do it yourself. You can't. You know, the organization, the leader is responsible for mission accomplishment, but that doesn't mean he's the one who's doing it all. The mission, if the organization is properly scaled to the mission that it has, then an individual or an office of people isn't what's going to do it. It's the entire organization that it's going to take to reach that. So the servant leadership focused on, all right, my job as the leader is to empower you to be effective at what you do. And that includes not only doing your, not only achieving the responsibilities for your position, your role in the organization, but developing you so that you not only stay engaged and happy with, with working in this organization. It's something you want to support, but that you're ready to advance and grow yourself personally and for the benefit of the organization itself.
I totally agree with that comment, and appreciate your insights on that one. As you was coming in military experience, and you was a youngster, right? Trying to develop yourself and trying to achieve more knowledge. What advice did leaders back then give you that you said, man, that's foundation, I'm going to keep that with me throughout my career?
Sure. Well, I think Purnell, in one of your earlier interviews, nailed one of the ones that most of us have experienced, and that you need to not only follow the guidance of your leaders, but you need to study them, and keep the little notebook that I had, little Army Green, DOD GSA publication notebook that fit in my pocket there, and you take, they've got two sides of the page for a reason. You take notes about, wow, emulate and venerate, as we used to say at the military academy, and that's what I'm going to do. And on the other side, wow, that's ineffective enough that it never has a place. And so I need to remember that, to avoid the temptation to do that. As I said, I was commissioned from West Point. We pride ourselves in being the premier leadership institution in the world. But the way we do that is by running a 47-month leader lab, which is from the day you're there to the day you graduate and get commissioned, you're studying leadership. And now the first couple of years doesn't feel like it, because you're at the bottom of the pile, and so you're actually following. But it's one of the points that General Dempsey makes, that good leaders know how to follow. So you have to develop along the way, and not only be an observant follower, but also understand where following fits. Because I thought it was at first I thought it was a little smug, but even the chairman of the Joint Chiefs pointed out that we all work for somebody. So you're always going to be looking up and looking down in a leadership process, and you need to be developing yourself as you are developing those for whom you're responsible. And even in some case, one of the good expressions is leading up, where you're paying enough attention to the overall mission to be able to know that and provide the input going up the chain to your supervisors, that says, based on what I understand we're trying to do at the moment, this is what I've found most helpful for us. And it's actually a form of, it's helping them to do their job better, but it's also letting them know what it is that's going to help you to improve. Once again, on that servant side, that that they're responsible for your growth and development, and that's going to benefit the organization.
Hank, I tell you what, you brought up a great memory with that GSA green little notebook.
Right?
But it had value. It definitely had two sides for a reason. And hearing you also say, leaders have to know how to follow, it adds so much to the point of servant leadership, and we all are grown and made into a leader. We're not born leaders. So you have to follow, and there's always somebody on the top. So great advice for folks that are either emerging leaders or in your leadership capabilities. But changing it to the challenges that turns into opportunities. What challenges did you face?
Yeah, so when I was reviewing the sort of the outline of where you were going, I thought it was interesting that you used the past tense, because what challenges did you face? Because to my way of thinking, it's which ones do you face, because it's an ongoing process. Leadership, as we talked about, it's not an academic subject like perhaps some of the folks down the hall are treating accounting or something else, where all right, it's you study the subject, we can validate your understanding of the subject and your mastery of it on an exam, and you get that one, and you get the passing grade, and so good to go, move on to the next thing. It's more like I'm no longer much of a golfer, but it's more like the game of golf, where it only takes you about 20 minutes or half an hour to have somebody explain what you're supposed to do to play golf, and then you spend the rest of your life, or until you get frustrated with it and you leave it behind, trying to figure out how to actually do that. And leadership evolves. Obviously, the challenges that we're facing today are different from the challenges that we were facing just 6 months ago, and go on back. So, I think it's what challenges do we face, and you have to continue to evolve, recognize your own growth, and your own comfort level that you've built around you, to where you say, well, this is how I've been handling this situation, but is there without starting, stopping the train and making everybody wait while I rethink the entire exercise, is there a better way to do it? So you've got to do that. But one of the more recent experiences that just jumped to mind was when I was in charge of a youth leadership organization, a scouting organization, and there was something had happened, and there was an opportunity for growth for among some of the young men who were there, and I was proposing, as the leader, I was proposing a solution to that, and there was a lot of pressure from parents and adults to handle it a different way, to handle it more in a more accommodating way, let's say, to the people who were involved. And as a good leader does, I was listening, and I wanted to take into account all of the data and the opinions. But the more I tried to make the proposed solution work, the less I felt comfortable with it, because of course we all part of leadership is knowing yourself, from Sun Tzu and Chinese military philosopher on through. You've got to know yourself, know your own values, and then those inform everything you do. And I tried coming up with a team solution, and at the end of the day, we actually walked back what we had been trying to do, and wound up going more with what I had been comfortable with in the first place, which is, and I think that's the lesson for a leader, is that the goal is to get it right ultimately. There's no guarantee you're always going to get it right. Certainly, as in our former profession, the fog of war and everything, you're going to get it wrong often. But the important thing is to know what right looks like, always, because you're looking for it, and then to progress to where that's where you wind up. So rather than say, well, I'd love for it to be a better solution, but I think it would look bad if I changed my mind. Leadership is about doing the right thing, and for the circumstances and for the organization, and that's subject to new information and a modification.
Hank, I was hearing you about the golf, and my head went sideways, right? Because undoubtedly in the game of golf, you're going to find yourself some challenges every single time, right? So when you're talking about strategies, right? Because that game it's challenging, but there's some strategies you can put into place to get you in a place where you're, performing at peak. And so, what strategies do you share with your teams, especially like during now this time of change that's really affected all of us?
Sure, sure. Well, I think I alluded to one of them already. Is that you got to listen. You've got because you're leading an organization, regardless of Vince, that a lot of the folks who came through our entrepreneurship program, the small business people, it's a small organization yourselves. It's like you don't need a big organization chart a lot of times to describe everybody who's involved. But that doesn't mean that your business or the context in which you're leading doesn't have an ecosystem. And sometimes that incorporates stakeholders who are not actively involved, if you have investors or shareholders. But it also involves it certainly involves those who work with you, and it involves your suppliers, your those who facilitate what it is you do, and in some cases it involves your customers too. So you have to be open to the open to feedback, and sometimes that's so listen. Number one, be a good communicator, because ultimately it's the communication that will make or break your organization, just about any endeavor you undertake. But also that asking for feedback and being overt about it, asking for feedback, recognizing that when you ask for feedback, people give it on the expectation that you're going to do something. So you have to be candid. You have to say, well, that's so. I appreciate the feedback, and we're going to be able to get partway to what some of you were looking for, and we're going to have to. Not all of it is feasible at the present time, or whatever. You have to communicate. Otherwise, the dashed expectations are almost, they can have a more detrimental impact than not asking for the feedback at all. But as a strategy, you have to be attuned. So certainly, I would think that this fall, a lot of the business courses they're going to be teaching down the hall from me here are we're going to have the textbook, but it's going to be more valuable what the week's podcasts and the front page of the Wall Street Journal said, in terms of being attuned to the circumstances that are right there now. But again, it's not your job as the leader to be the exclusive filter of information from the outside. Take it from within your organization. Ask for feedback. Inculcate in everybody this idea that we are better when we are informed.
Better informed, correct. Indeed. Folks, there's a lot of nuggets that Hank shared with us. I hope you all got some great analogies of the Gulf or the little reminders of the Green Book. But, this was great. We're so happy and blessed to have you on our show. And a lot of folks don't know about the programs that, as you mentioned, the entrepreneurship program that I attended to from Florida and went to Philly. So other veterans out there who would like to understand or know more about the program and what St. Joseph University offers, how do they get a hold of you or the university?
Sure. Well, it's easy to find us online. SJU.edu/veterans is our page, and you can, if you want, when you're reaching out via email, just veterans@sju.edu, and it'll come to Kevin and myself, and we'll get back in touch with you and see what we can do to help you along your way. And additionally, we're our social media. If you search SJU Veteran Services, you'll find us. You'll find the Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, the usual.
Well, thank you so much, Hank, for your time and all that you've shared with us today. I'm sure happy that SJU has someone at the helm that is leading the charge with such a positive mindset and a great thought about leadership. Folks, if you want to reach out to us, the Leadership Void at gmail.com is our email. If you want to be on the show, if you want to be spotlighted, if you want us to wear one of your shirts, drink out of one of your mugs, feel free to connect with us. And the information for Hank has already been shared. We'll post that as a comment or part of the video, so you can have that readily accessible. Folks, we're enjoying every time we go to another state and spotlight another professional doing great things with veterans and doing great things in our nation. So once again, Hank, thank you so much for your time. Vince, you can close us out there.
Yes. And to his picture in the back, a rising tide lifts all ships. So, you know, it's a great thing. And next week, August 26th, we go back to California and speak with Clint Kemack. He's the president of the Leadership Development Network. So we're excited to go back to the West Coast and talk to another great professional, great leader who's doing some great things in leadership development. Thank you all for joining in, and we'll see you next week. Have a good time. Take care.